Hi friends, I'm Shasini, who is undergraduate in Java Institute. Today I'm going to talk about Web Component Development 2, which is also known as WCD2. In this video series, I'm going to talk some points in WCD2 within 5 videos. This is the second video, and you can also check out my WCD1 video and my first video in WCD2 from my channel. Let's start. Today I'm going to talk about JSP standard actions. In this chapter, we will discuss actions in JSP. These actions use constructs in XML syntax to control the behavior of the servlet engine. You can dynamically insert a file, reuse Java Beans components, forward the user to another page, or generate HTML for the Java plugin. There is only one syntax for the action element as it conforms to the XML standard. So here is the only one syntax. Action elements are basically predefined functions. The following table lists out the available JSP actions. So here is the table. You can see the syntax and purpose of it. Common attributes. There are two attributes that are common to all action elements, the ID attribute and the scope attribute. ID attribute. The ID attribute uniquely identifies the action element and allows the action to be referenced inside the JSP page. If the action creates an instance of an object, the ID value can be used to reference it through the implicit object page context. Scope attribute. This attribute identifies the life cycle of the action element. The ID attribute and the scope attribute are directly related as the scope attribute determines the lifespan of the object associated with the ID. The scope attribute has four possible values. First one is page, second one is request, third one is session, and the fourth one is application. JSP include action. This action lets you insert files into the page being generated. The syntax looks like this. So here is the syntax. Unlike the include directive, which inserts the file at the time the JSP page is translated into a servlet, this action inserts the file at the time the page is requested. Following table lists out the attribute associated with the include action. So here is the table. Here is the attribute and description. Attribute is page and the description is the relative URL of the page to be included. Flush. The Boolean attribute determines whether the included resource has its buffer flushed before it is included. Example. Let us define the following into files date.jsp and main.jsp as follows. Following is the content of the date.jsp file. So here is the content and here is the content of main.jsp file. Let us now keep all these files in the root directory and try to access main.jsp and you will receive the following output. So you can get the output as your currently date and time, which is you run the application time. JSP use bin action. The use bin action is quite versatile. It first searches for an existing object utilizing the ID and scope variables. If an object is not found, it then tries to create the specified object. The simplest way to load the bin is as follows. Once the bean class is locked, you can use JSP set property and JSP get property actions to modify and retrieve the bean properties. Following table lists out the attributes associated with the use bean action. You can see the attributes and descriptions. Class attribute designates the full package name of the bean. Type attribute specify the type of the variable that will refer to the object. Bean name attribute gives the name of the bean as specified by the instantiate method of the java.beans class. Let us now discuss the JSP set property and the JSP get property actions before giving a valid example related to these actions. JSP set property action. The set property action sets the properties of a bean. The bean must have been previously defined before this action. There are two basic ways to use the set property action. You can use JSP set property after but outside of a JSP use bean element as given below. In this case, the JSP set property is executed regardless of whether a new bean was intermediate or an existing bean was found. A second context in which JSP set property can appear is inside the body of a JSP use bean element as given below. Here the JSP set property is executed only if a new object was instantiated, not if an existing one was found. So, following table lists out the attributes associated with set property action. Name attribute designates the bean, the property which of will be set. The bean must have been previously defined. Property attribute indicates the property you want to set. A value of star means that all request parameters whose names must be property names will be passed to the appropriate setter methods. So the star means all. So star equal to all. Value attribute. The value that is to be assigned the given property. The parameter's value is null or the parameter does not exist. The set property action is ignored. Param attribute. The param attribute is the name of the request parameter whose value the property is to receive. You can't use both value and param, but it's permissible to use neither. So this is the video of my web component development too. I hope you enjoyed and thank you for watching.